Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house today with my man, Mark Lachance. Mark is a renowned figure in the business world, one who possesses a deep understanding of blitz scaling companies, having owned and operated several businesses that have experienced hyper growth through creative business development and lead generation. He is a master of sales and marketing and continues to apply and grow his expertise through current projects. He's the CEO and lead investor of Maxi Media Inc., one of the largest TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, and Google display network performance marketing agencies in the world. Currently, Maxi Media is the number one advertiser in terms of monthly spend on TikTok platform in Canada and top 10 in North America. Mark, welcome to the show, man.
Mike C-Roc, thanks for having me.
How did I do, man? Did I get through that or what?
I think that was pretty good. I think it was good.
I like to hammer and try to I challenge myself not to have a stumble, and I'm getting better and better after 200 some episodes. So
have you ever, if one day you write a book, the challenge is going to be when you do the Audible version of it. Oh, there you go. You did it. Did you do the Audible of it?
No, because what I've done so far is I've practiced reading some of it on like social media channels like Clubhouse or Wisdom app. Like I've tried to mess around with that right now, but I haven't had the patience to sit down and really go through the Audible process.
It's 20 hours of I'll call it torture, but it's worth it.
Well, after going through the book editing process and reading it over and over again, I got so sick of my story. I got so sick of the book that I was just like, I don't know if I can ever write another book. So anyway, man, welcome to the show. We start the show every time with this same question. What are you made of, Mark?
What am I made of? I'd have to say I'm made of grit. I'm made of determination. I'm made of goals. I'm made of, winning. That's what I'm made of.
Love it. Love it. That's a common answer for a lot of the successful people that come on this show. Not that you shouldn't answer that way, but it's just it's interesting to hear the commonalities between the successful and the unsuccessful. And, I love that. So take us back, man. Like where's this grit come from? Because like, if you look at your page, if anybody knows anything about you, it looks like this guy, bald head, handsome bald head. The best kind of haircut you could possibly have as a man.
There you go. There you go.
It looks like everything's been easy to you. You got a nice green suit on your site. You're smiling real big. Has it always been easy for you?
Well, I'll take you back to after graduate. No. I'll take you back to, how old was that? I was about 14 years old. My father walks into my room and he says, "Hey kid, you have to come work on the construction crew because we're going through a hard time. And if you don't, you're not going to college." So I don't know if Mike, if you maybe you did, looks like you're a big dude. You may work construction, one day in your life, but I got to say, working on the hot roof sucks. Putting on the belt and lugging, shingles up a ladder in 102 degree summer weather sucks. So, it wasn't all peaches and cream. Let me tell you that. So, that's kind of, if you read my book, that's, and you read the section about your why, my why is never, ever waking up again, having to look out that window and see that a hot sun come up over the horizon, because you're going to have to be on that roof that whole day. So, yeah,
just a quick, to relate to you. My dad's a mason. My grandfather was a stucco guy. My uncles were all stucco guys. Some girl that we went to high school with, his dad was pouring concrete. We worked for him. Like I did it all, man. Yeah. I had lime stains at the end of the day all over my arms from mixing mud.
Pulling, so you get it,
buckets of mud up, scaffolding, building scaffold, tearing it down. Yeah,
done it. You get it. All, man. Same, man. Same thing. So, and you probably remember, walking up the stairs to your bedroom and probably just collapsing right on the floor for about 15, 20 minutes after you get home. That's what I did.
Yeah, it's crazy how tired you got, especially on a summer day. And you'd be out. Like I worked my ass off. Yeah, so I remember that. I can relate to that. So going through that. How long did you do that? And then did you go to college, or what was the story?
Yeah. So I did that every summer from 14, all the way through 22 years old. So when I graduated, 23 years old, actually. So every summer, actually, when I got back from school, because I went to school in Boston, I had to pay for, I had to pay for a big chunk of the school, that and financial aid, because my father it was in a bad real estate deal, went upside down. It was back in the 80s, right? If you remember that. I think I'm a little bit older than you, Mike, but we've been through a few booms and busts.
Way older than me. Way older.
way older. Been through a few booms and busts, and had some crushing defeats in real estate. But anyway, I was in construction for a long time, and actually I graduated in '92. If you remember then, Mike, '92, the economy pretty much sucked, and I had a choice to go work for Staples, like all my classmates are doing, or go back and work for my father for double the salary. So I went back and worked in construction, believe it or not. But again, I was able to put a lot of money in my pocket and start another business alongside that, which was in sports. That was pretty cool.
Awesome. So yeah, I graduated in 95, just for the record. So 3 years younger, much younger. So yeah. So then what did you say you got into sports?
Yeah, I was an agent for a long time. My brother was drafted by the New York Islanders, 4th overall in 1990. And my other brother was drafted in 91 by the St. Louis Blues. So that gave me a ton of contacts in the hockey world. So awesome. I was able to build a sports agency business. I had 7 guys in the NHL at one time and 35 in the minor leagues working their way up. So that was my biggest, that was the biggest, I built it to, and then decided to get out of that and get into payments, which I did that for a long time and was very successful. Had a couple great exits, and then got into digital marketing.
So why did you get out of sports?
Well, a couple of reasons. One was that I think, Mike, you understand recurring revenue. You understand, getting a paycheck in your mailbox. They call it mailbox money or passive income. Sports is not that, right? Or at least the agent business is not that. Plus, I had 7 guys in the NHL at one time, and 2 of them at one point were stolen from it. I lost them, whatever way you want to look at it. And that represented 30% of my revenue out the window immediately. And I was like, wow, that was a shocker to me. And at the same time, I met a guy in the payments business who was making this was 98. He was making about $30,000 a month, and 30 grand a month at that time was huge money. And it was recurring revenue, right? So he had 2,000 clients. He really didn't care if he lost, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 clients. It wouldn't hurt him. Mm-hmm. But in this case, I lost 2, and it really crushed my my revenue. So
yeah,
that's all how I got it.
It's all about having enough. Like that. People say, "Well, when's enough enough?" Well, enough's enough when I can lose some clients, or I can even fire some clients if I need to, or customers. That's abundance, right? So I had a question regarding that. Oh, payments. What do you mean by payments in the payment?
Credit card processing. So you're familiar probably with Square or PayPal, any of those guys, right? Or anytime you go to a store and you swipe your credit card.
Yep.
So that I first got into point of sale, which you're swiping your credit card at the point of sale at a restaurant, a bar, or a local shop. And then it morphed in early 90s to online. Sorry, early 2000s to online payments like PayPal.
Okay.
So gotcha. I got into that space.
Gotcha. Okay. And then you got into the digital marketing, and man, that's changed over the years, right? So that's a constant adapting, constant evolving business. I think that's a good thing in a way too, because it keeps you on your toes and not comfortable and complacent, right?
That's right. Well, look, let's say you're advertising on platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever. They're constantly changing their algorithms, their rules and regulations. And it's just, you always have to be on your game. Always.
Yeah. And then how much are you working with organic growth versus paid advertising?
Well, our shop, we're mostly paid. We're pretty much 100% paid advertising. So we drive traffic, and we drive traffic for big verticals like education or lending or personal finance or any of that stuff. And it's all paid traffic.
Okay. Gotcha. And then you wrote the book, The Lucky Formula, which I love because, this shows about what are you made of, the ingredients that have gone into making, and really exposing the journey to success, where a lot of people like yourself, people, I know a lot of people look at Grant Cardone, who's a mentor and business partner of mine. And they look at him and, man, he's so lucky, and they don't see all the stuff that they've been through. Numerous other successful people. So speak to this, stacking the odds in your favor to basically create luck, not become lucky, but to create luck.
That's
What's
right.
behind that with you?
Well, yeah. Okay. I'll give you an example of that. I'll tell you a story around that. So I'm big into biohacking. I'm big into supplementation. I'm big into, I don't have as big as pipes as you do, Mike, but I'm big into working out. And so basically I was at story around is I was at Dave Asprey's event in Orlando back in September. Right. So I'm sitting in the VIP room having lunch, and, a woman sits next to me, and her name is Kim. So we start talking. I said, "What do you do?" I'm the president of the Buffalo Sabres. And I'm like, wow, a woman president of a hockey team. That's pretty cool. And so we started talking about some of the players, and she knew everything. She was, obviously up on her game. And then I look at her nameplate, and her last name is Pagula, Kim Pegula, the owner of the Buffalo Sabres and the Buffalo Bills. So anyway, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So we start talking about the Bills and what are her pain points, who's her target market. So basically, bald guys like us in our almost 50s, Mike, are her target market. I said, well, wouldn't you be interested in Gen Z? Isn't that, we're not going to be around forever, but Gen Z is going to be around for a heck of a lot longer than we are. She's like, yeah, that's something we haven't been able to crack. So I immediately got on the phone and I called my head of creatives and I said, listen, I need some TikTok videos right now. Gen Z loving the Buffalo Bills. So anyway, they whipped up the creatives and sent it. I found her at the conference later. I said, Kim, take a look at this. She absolutely loved it. And, potentially from that. Yeah.
Attack speed, we call it.
Exactly. So eventually from that, we're going to get the Buffalo Bills as a client. We don't have them yet, but, I'm working on it. But the point is, was I lucky to be sitting next to her, or did I put myself in that position to be in biohacking, to be, in the health space, to be healthy, blah, blah, blah. So no, it wasn't lucky. I put myself in that position. So again, it's stacking the odds in your favor, putting yourself in the position to be in a position to meet a Kim Pegula.
Yeah. I mean, I talk about this myself when I was going on this journey, starting a podcast, writing the book, Rocket Fuel, paying for all the seminars, like you talked about. You went to this place. And a lot of times I knew I was doing it at the moment of developing myself, getting my story out there, connecting with people, this and that. But the grand vision, I had no idea. And then this past year and a half, things started to fall into place. And it's the same story that's in the Bible. For those that have read the Bible before or watched the movie Noah and Noah's Ark. Noah was building his ark. And if everybody watched Noah when the floods came, and they could look at him and say, damn, he was lucky he had a boat. Right. But all this time, I think it was 100 years, according to the Bible, that he built this ark. And he didn't know exactly why he was doing it. He was just being told to it, whether you call it God's voice or his inclinations or whatever, intuition. He was building it and he kept doing it. He was faithful to what that journey was. And this is a place that there was no rain ever until it rained. Right. So I think that story speaks into what you're talking about there, and 100%. So give me some other stories of where you noticed this happening in your life.
Well, I'll give you another story. So it's fast. Go back, how many years ago? It was almost 15 years ago. I was at a Tony Robbins event, and no, I'll even take you before that. So I launched my one of my payments companies in 2009. That was right after a colossal failure that I had in real estate. So I got crushed in real estate, verge of bankruptcy, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. And then, as anybody who doesn't like being a loser and being depressed on their couch all the time, you got to snap out of it and get back into what you know. So I got back into payments in 2009. I was able to start a company, get some investors together and start a company. And I launched it. It was exactly it was September of 2009. And then fast forward a year and a half later, I'm sitting at my desk and I see my email box is filled with unopened emails. And I'm completely stressed out of my mind. And I'm like, what am I going to do? This business is running me. I'm not running it. It sucks, blah, blah, blah. I'm pissed off. So I needed a coach. I needed a mentor. So I typed in Tony Robbins. I typed into Google. I'm like, mentor, business coach, blah, blah. Tony Robbins kept on coming up. So fast forward, 2 weeks later, I found myself sitting in Business Mastery in Vegas. And first thing I learned is that, the reason your business is stuck or you're having troubles with your business is because of you. You're the problem. And I was like, wow, like a punch in the face. Like, I guess I am the problem. But, that being said, a gentleman sitting right next to me by the name of David, just so happens was in the digital marketing space, and we kept in touch. And then, fast forward to today, this same guy is the guy helping me build my business to the next level. So that's kind of another serendipitous move. So you go to these events, you meet people at a high level, you're sitting in the right spots and you're talking to people, and you get lucky by meeting the right people. So that's kind of another example. And, Dave's been instrumental in getting us our president of the US and getting us, massive deals. And so anyway, I think it's all about, opening your mouth, speaking to people and being approachable.
Yeah. I love, I think it's you develop a mission that you want to be on, whatever you decide to be on, and then promoting it. And promoting it is sharing the message, promoting it to everybody that you talk to, everybody you run into, even just people to discourage you. And the more you promote, the more you're going to run into people that align with you. And
That's
then
right.
it all starts to stack up and line up. So what led you to writing the book? Like what made you decide to write a book? Because I know what led me to doing it. And, you know,
It's actually funny. Because I do have a lot of stories of boom and bust, right? I've got a couple of them. I've had 4 tremendous exits from businesses. Started off as a carpenter, as a construction guy, then, you know, had a bunch of, it got into payments and sports. And so I have a pretty, I guess, interesting background. At least one of my friends was telling me that. And he's like, listen, you have to write a book. You have a lot of great stories to tell. And, you know, my brother played in the Olympics and all this other crazy stuff, right? But I didn't want to up until COVID hit. And I'm like, you know what? This world is going crazy. Why not write it? So I was like, so I started, you know, writing out everything. And it was actually a pretty cool journey. You know, you went through it, right? So it's actually not, it sounds like it could be easy. It's not an easy task. I'll tell you that.
No. And then also going through the process, because I know what it takes to become a bestseller on the Wall Street Journal, USA Today. Like I know, like, you may have already known it. I had to search all those things out and decide whether I wanted to go through that or pursue the other things I had on my plate already. And you did that, and I commend you for that. But how did you get featured in all these other things like Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur? Like, you
need a good PR team, Mike. That's what you need.
Well, I didn't know if there was a PR team or if you just had somebody that knew how to do that, a connection.
I hired my editor recommended a pretty good PR team for me, and they were able to get me in all those publications.
And as far as going through that, was it worth it or has it been just recent that you did it?
Well, the book launched in November, so it's pretty recent.
Oh, okay.
But I will say though, it does give you, opens doors and gives you credibility if you didn't have it before, meaning in some circles, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just to give you a background, I think the listeners have heard the story before, but I wrote this book, Rocket Fuel, and I had decided to get a person to write the forward for the book. And Grant Cardone wrote the forward for the book, but it wasn't free. And I didn't know anything. I was going through this process. I'm the kind of guy that like wants something, I get it. Every time I want something, I go get it, but it's because I go get it. I don't quit. But I don't always know what the hell I'm doing. I just commit and then I'll figure it out on the way. And so as I'm going through this, I committed ahead of time, like I'm going to get Grant to write the forward for the book because we were already working together on some things. And like, man, if I get him on the cover, he'll talk about it. And I told my team, we're going to have Grant write the forward for the book. And then as I'm going through this, I'm realizing the things that it takes to become a bestseller too, and all this. And so I had to give something up to get something, so to speak. And sure. That's what I ended up going with the forward. So, but no, I love watching other people that have gone through this journey. And right now, like just November, I released mine in May, I think it was. So much has come from the book, man. Like it's amazing. I've already forgotten about the book pretty much. I'm already moved on to so many other things, but people keep bringing it back up again, which is you're going to find out as you go through. So congratulations on that. So what I want to get to the key of hyper growth in businesses. What do you think the keys are when it says blitz scaling companies and hyper growth? Like what are the keys to doing that without the company, falling on a poor foundation?
Okay, well, you just said it, right? Number one is a foundation, and the foundation is people, having great people around you, and having. So look, if you look at the makeup of our company right now, we've got, and I can look up and down the roster, and we have no C players. You can't have all A's, you know that, Mike. I think, but you need some great B pluses. But we do have a lot of A. We have A's in every leadership position, I'll call it, and in the other positions we have tons of B pluses and A's as well. So we're constantly like, for example, today I had a leadership seminar. Every Thursday we do an hour leadership call where we're teaching, tips and tricks and principles on leadership, principles on being a better person, better human, better investor, especially nowadays, because if you're invested properly, you're not going to get crushed by inflation, which if you're in a bad financial space, are you going to be a good leader? And the answer is no, because I think the worst stress is financial stress. I've been through it. So that's, so the foundation of a business is people first. And obviously, if you read a book called The Star Principle by Richard Koch, you're going to find out you want to be in an industry that's in hypergrowth or growing quickly, which digital marketing is one of those spaces. So you want to be there. And, if you're in a great industry, if you have smart people around you and you're fairly well capitalized, you can grow the business from 0 to 1,000, like we've done quickly.
Yeah. So what do you do if you're in a company in a situation and you have C players?
Are you the owner of the company? Are you the leader of the company?
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the listeners. So
no, what I'm saying, I'm asking, is the scenario?
Yeah. Their management, they make decisions, right? So somebody's listening to this. They have a company. They're making money. They're doing good. But let's say that, they've had people like working with them forever, and they're C players and B players, and they have some A's, but they have relationships. Like, what's the way to approach this for these people that are listening?
I would pick up a book called Winning by Jack Welch and read it and do everything he says in that book. And that's basically going to tell you to call out the bottom 10% of your staff, which are going to be all those C players are going to be gone. So if you want to grow a business, and if you go to Business Mastery, Tony Robbins, he's going to tell you the same thing. And that's exactly what I did. So I went, and as soon as I got back from that event, I called out all the C players, and I found that I had C players around me because, I call it the entrepreneur's dilemma, that entrepreneurs believe that they have to be the smartest and the best and, the most knowledgeable in the business, which is so far from the truth. It's ridiculous. So if you can't have somebody that's an A player beside you, then you're not a great leader. You got to surround yourself with people smarter than you and get rid of the fear or the ego that they're going to, replace you. You want that if you're a leader. Let them replace you.
Yeah.
So you can go on and grow the business,
Now, what about the contradiction there because I agree with you. Henry Ford was an example of this. But what about John Maxwell's law of the lid, that you're not going to attract talent that has a higher lid than you?
You're not going to attract talent that has a higher lid than you. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because if you give them, like Richard Koch will talk to you about giving them equity in the company. I'll give you an example. My chief operating officer right now, this guy can run circles around me in media buying, in content writing, in anything digital, but does it matter to me? I'm not even a marketing guy per se. I'm a sales and finance guy, right? But I know how to find people and get people, motivate people that have a bigger lid than I do. So I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. But does anybody have a bigger lid than I do in showing vision? Maybe not. So
belief and vision. Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the A player doesn't necessarily have to be a visionary and have a bigger belief in you. They just have to be really good at their position and their roles.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Got it. All right, cool. So Mark, as we wind this down, what is the vision for the future for you?
Can I show you something, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to hold on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. So as he's going to be showing us something. I'm going to just let you guys know while he's gone, because I know he's going to want to talk about this. Look, it's a Stanley Cup. Oh man.
That's a Stanley Cup, Mike. So the grand vision is to be the owner of the Florida Panthers and carry the Stanley Cup at center ice after winning the championship. That's it.
Whoa. So who owns the Florida Panthers right now? Because I was just talking to a guy that is friends with him.
I think it's Frank Viola, I think is the last name.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
So just tell Frank one day I'm going to buy his team from him.
I was talking to David Greenberg. Do you know who David Greenberg is?
I don't.
Yeah, so David either works with Frank or does something with him, and he was just talking about that last week. So it's kind of funny that you brought that up. And I was actually on a plane coming home from Miami, and I was sitting up in first class, and I don't know if I was taking a nap because I was tired or something, but we had 15 minutes left on the flight, and who was sitting next to me was a referee that's the president of the Referees Association. I think his name's Scott something. He was a player too.
Okay,
his name just slipped my mind. But NHL has just been coming up a lot lately for some reason. So, anyway, but I was while you were going to
meet me at the game tonight, Mike. Meet me at the game. I'm going.
Yeah,
Florida Panthers.
That fast. I can't. I'm a Flyers fan, by the way. What's your favorite team?
Well, I was a Montreal Canadian fan, but I've switched my allegiance to the Florida Panthers. So,
well, do you know who a friend of mine is that I golf with? Rod Langway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. He used to be a Habs, Washington. Used to play for Washington. Yeah, the Caps. Sure.
Yeah, he comes down in Ocean City and plays golf with us all the time, and just a great guy, man. Cool. Big dude. He's a big monster guy.
Oh yeah.
But the sweetest guy in the world. So, I was telling them why you went to get the Stanley Cup. And by the way, I'm just like he wants to own the Panthers, guys. So that's vision right there. That's a big grand goal, and I'm rooting for you, and I think it's possible for sure. And I want to encourage you. A lot of times when people tell their grand vision, people are like, Really? Yeah, come on, get the hell out of here. You know, I'm not that kind of person. So I don't think you're thinking big enough. I think you should try to own the whole league, but that's just the way I roll. Anyway. Let me see what I can do about that. I might be able to broker a deal with you and Frank. So, but while you were going to get the Stanley Cup, I was telling them about your website, marklachance.com. Guys, if you go there right now, there's on the top right, there's a take the assessment quiz. I want you to go there, marklachance.com, top right, take the assessment quiz. Mark, what does that quiz do?
So the quiz will give you your lucky score. As you mentioned earlier, the name of my book is called The Lucky Formula. So the quiz gives you your lucky score on a scale of 1 to 100. And it gives you tips and tricks on how to get your score higher, right? So it's basically luck equals success. And the lucky formula is, anyway, we don't have to get into the formula. Next call, we'll get in the formula, Mike.
Okay, well, they can take the quiz, and will it tell the formula in the quiz, or they got to get the book?
They got to
guys, got to get the book. The book's available on his website as well, marklachance.com, marklachance.com. Go get it, take the quiz, and then when you take the quiz, take a picture of it and tag Mark and myself on Instagram. Do that for us. Let's go.
Love it.
All right. Hey, Mark, thanks so much for being here, man. It's great to meet you. I hope to work with you on some, maybe I'll part owner of the Florida Panthers with you. We'll see how that goes, but thank you so much for being here, man.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you all for listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, Mike C-Roc. Keep coming back. Go subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you like to watch these, go to YouTube, Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco. And by the way, as I mentioned to Mark in the green room, the Blueprinted platform is now live. Go to Blueprinted, printed.com. And check it out, man. Go find out. Listen, it's a marketplace, step-by-step processes that experts are selling to you to achieve whatever your little heart desires. It's live, and I'm excited and fired up. It's my first tech platform. Go check it out. And until next time, be unstoppable.